In May 2008, the rapidly developing city of Noida, Uttar Pradesh, became the site of a double homicide that would eventually collapse under the weight of its own investigation. 14-year-old Aarushi Talwar was discovered murdered in her bedroom, inside her family's locked apartment. The family's live-in domestic worker, Hemraj was missing. Police immediately assumed he was the killer and began a manhunt. But the very next day, a discovery on the terrace of that exact same house upended the investigation. Hemraj's body was found right above the initial crime scene. The double murders had occurred within a residence secured by a deadbolt, with no signs of forced entry. Despite occurring in this closed environment with a strictly limited pool of suspects, the case remains unsolved. To understand why, we have to look at how the physical evidence was handled from the very first hour. The investigation began with a series of procedural failures. When the Uttar Pradesh police arrived, they did not effectively cordon off the apartment. Instead of a sterile crime scene, the home became a thoroughfare for neighbors, relatives, and onlookers before any forensic team could begin their work. This foot traffic systematically contaminated the space. Each person moving through the rooms potentially destroyed fingerprints and mixed biological evidence, making it impossible to reconstruct a clean forensic map of the struggle. Furthermore, the delay in discovering the second victim on the terrace meant his body was left exposed to the heat, causing rapid degradation of biological evidence that might have identified an intruder. As physical facts were lost to contamination, intense media speculation filled the gap, often prioritizing sensational theories over the missing forensic data. With the local investigation compromised, the case was transferred to the Central Bureau of Investigation. But the CBI inherited a scene that had already been stripped of its integrity. Without a clean forensic foundation, investigators were forced to build their case on inference rather than direct proof. A second CBI team shifted the focus of the investigation entirely toward Arushi's parents, Dr. Rajesh Talwar and Dr. Nupur Talwar. The prosecution alleged the parents had committed the murders and meticulously cleaned the scene to hide their involvement. Because there was no direct evidence, the state relied on circumstantial evidence. This is a legal method where separate facts are linked together to suggest a logical conclusion. The CBI's chain consisted of the locked apartment, the lack of forced entry, and their theory about the murder weapons, even though those weapons were never recovered or linked to the accused. In 2013, a special CBI court found this chain of logic sufficient. Both parents were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. It was a verdict that rested entirely on the absence of other suspects within a locked environment, rather than forensic proof linking the parents to the act of murder. In 2017, the Allahabad High Court reviewed the conviction on appeal. The court applied the standard of beyond a reasonable doubt. For a circumstantial case to hold, every link in the chain must be solid. If even one link snaps under pressure, the entire prosecution fails. The High Court ruled that the initial police failures and contaminated DNA evidence fatally broke the chain. The prosecution had built a case on what was likely, not what was proven. Because the state had not met the burden of proof, the court overturned the convictions and acquitted the Talwars. The ruling highlighted a critical safeguard. The law cannot allow a conviction based on probability, when the investigation itself destroyed the evidence required for certainty. The Supreme Court of India did not reverse the acquittal, leaving the High Court's decision as the final legal word. This means that today, nearly 2 decades after the murders, no one is currently convicted for the deaths of Aarushi and Hemraj. The case remains a quiet, unsolved chapter in the history of Noida. This outcome demonstrates that the legal process is only as reliable as the forensic chain that feeds it. When an investigation fails to secure the physical truth in the first 48 hours, it risks losing the ability to ever reach a definitive conclusion.